Don't rock the boat. Don't poke the hornet's nest. Don't draw attention to yourself. Keep your head down. Fly just under the radar. Work within the system. These are tried and true phrases that we've all heard. Phrases that we've likely even uttered ourselves. These are phrases that teach us strategic ways to behave in order to navigate the world around us without getting into too much trouble. However, as my favorite refrigerator magnet says, well-behaved women rarely make history. Well-behaved men rarely do either. Today is all about knowing when these helpful phrases are appropriate and when they would be better kicked to the curb. The hard truth is that there will be times when following the will of God will require us to strategically rock the boat, to courageously poke the hornet's nest, and to boldly draw attention to ourselves with our heads held high as we work against a system when we see injustices that need to be acknowledged and addressed. Jesus and his followers did not shy away from facing conflict head on as they parade into Jerusalem. Close to the time, Pilate is making a grand entrance on the other side of Jerusalem. Jesus and his followers parade in on the opposite side of the city in a very different fashion. They use the element of contradiction and surprise to make a bold statement against the oppressive systems that are at work in the empire in which they live. Instead of a large stallion or war horse, Jesus rides in on a donkey, a symbol of peace and humility. In place of the extravagant banners and flags of imperialism, the bystanders wave branches of greenery, symbols of shade and refreshing waters, free gifts of God's creation. Instead of flaunting plundered treasure, military might, and the authority, Jesus' parade enters the city as a bold and fantastic parody, as it instead flaunts the power of humility, compassion, and love. In the prophetic words of Zechariah, "Shout aloud, O daughter of Jerusalem, lo, your king comes to you, triumphant and victorious is he, humble and riding on a donkey." Jesus is telling us something with a bit of street theater, not just centuries ago, but today. True power is not something that can be bought, stolen, or flaunted. It is not justly gained when it is taken from someone else. It is not something that is meant to be hoarded or plundered or guarded. True power is found in the one who's willing to die for us, to suffer with us, to give of himself for us. It is given freely to all, and it cannot be taken away. Triumph comes in the form of love, not passive adoration, but active, heart-wrenching, passionate, and sacrificial love. This countercultural entrance into the city, the very seat of government, is meant to shock and surprise. It is meant to catch the attention of every citizen they pass. Surprise is a powerful tool when it's used intentionally. Just this past week, I read the annual letter from Bill and Melinda Gates because its title did just that. It surprised me and it caught my attention because, believe me, I do not normally go around reading annual reports just for fun. The letter was titled, "We Didn't See This Coming." 9 things that have surprised us and inspired us to action. In the letter, Bill and Melinda write that a benefit of surprises is that they're often a prod to action. It can gnaw at people to realize that the realities of the world don't match their expectations of it. Some surprises help people see that the status quo needs to change. Some surprises underscore that transformation is already happening. I would argue that both are true of today's Palm Sunday parade. Jesus and his followers are clearly calling for a change in the status quo, all the while serving as a crowd of witnesses that transformation is already happening. Those in high power would simply dismiss all the commotion if they were not worried about the significant transformation that was already underway. Those in power would not be concerned were it not for the light of truth being revealed in the humble procession of Jesus and his followers. The weight of their message could not be ignored any longer. The waves were simply getting too large from the rocking of the boat. Holy Week will take us on a very rough journey through choppy waters, swarms of anger, and paralyzing fear. It is the most significant and transformative journey we take as a body of faith each year. Holy Week forces us to face the conflict within ourselves, to acknowledge our own shortcomings, and to spend time in the darkest corners of our hearts so that we might understand ourselves and God better. We are forced to wrestle with the hardest questions as we walk in the shoes of the people who walked this journey firsthand. Perhaps we'll find ourselves wondering, how many times do we, like Peter, deny Jesus in the name of self-preservation? How often do we join the mob, casting blame, pointing fingers, because that is immensely easier than wrestling with the complexities and the uncomfortable realities that are right in front of us? When have we, like the Pharisees or the chief priests, been so attached to the way things have always been done, the way they should be done, that we condemn the new thing that God is doing in our midst? How many times do we keep our heads down and wash our hands of responsibility because we, like Pilate, are afraid to stand up for that which is right? Today is yet a small glimpse of the journey ahead. It's the trailer for the upcoming dramatic struggle. My challenge to each of you is to immerse yourself in the full story. Dive into the drama and let yourself be swept up in the passion narrative. Step into the boat and make some waves. Poke the hornet's nest and draw out the swarm of feelings that are within, without fear of causing a scene. You might just find yourself surprised by the ways in which the realities of this world do not match your expectations of it. And that surprise might call you to join the parade as you walk alongside a triumphant and victorious king, humble and riding on a donkey. Amen.